I thought our engagement was the happiest moment of my life. I thought I was walking toward a beautiful future with a man who truly loved me. But I was wrong. I wasn't walking toward a wedding. I was walking into a trap built on a lie. I'm 22 and my fiancé is 23. We've been building our lives together, staying close to family as we planned for what was ahead. For a long time, everything felt perfect. He was attentive, caring, and protective, or at least that's what I told myself. It was New Year's Eve. The air was crisp, and the house was filled with the warm scent of holiday cooking and the low hum of family gossip. We were at his parents' place for a gathering. People were laughing, the fireplace was crackling, and for a moment, I felt completely at peace. His aunt was moving through the crowd, a tray of champagne glasses clinking softly in her hands. When she reached me, she offered a glass with a bright smile. But before I could even reach for it, my fiancé's hand shot out like a bolt of lightning. He grabbed the glass and moved it far away from me. I froze. I looked at him, confused, but he just turned away to talk to his cousin. I thought it was weird. Maybe he was just being overprotective in a strange way, but I didn't want to make a scene. I decided to just head to the kitchen. I needed a moment away from the noise anyway. I poured myself a drink, the ice clinking against the glass, and took a slow sip. But the second I walked back into the living room, the entire mood changed. My fiancé didn't just look at me. He glared at the glass in my hand. "Is that alcohol?" he asked. His voice wasn't a whisper. It was loud enough to cut through every conversation in the room. "Yes," I said, the glass trembling slightly in my hand. Suddenly, he snapped. He started shouting about responsibility and how reckless I was being. I looked around, and my heart sank. Every relative, every friend, every guest was staring at us. The room was deathly quiet. Then he said the words that changed everything. "Are you really going to mess things up before they even start? You're going to hurt the baby." My heart stopped. I felt the blood drain from my face. "What baby?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He stood tall, looking almost proud of himself in front of his family. He told everyone he had found a pregnancy test in the bathroom weeks ago. He said that was why he had been watching every single thing I ate and drank. And then he dropped the biggest bomb of all. He said that was why he had proposed to me. He told the room he was stepping up to be a man, but then he looked at me with pure disgust and said, "I don't know if I made a mistake. If this is the kind of mother you're going to be." I felt a wave of humiliation so intense, I thought I might get sick. I looked him in the eye and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I am not pregnant." He didn't believe me. He looked at me with pity and told me I didn't need to lie anymore. I left that night. I didn't say goodbye. I haven't been back to his house since. Now, his mother is messaging me, telling me that relationships take effort and that this is just a little misunderstanding. But it's not a misunderstanding. Every time I close my eyes, I hear his voice. I realize that he didn't propose because he loved me. He didn't ask me to be his wife because of who I am. He asked because of a child that doesn't exist. Our entire engagement, our entire future was a reaction to a mistake. And here is the part that keeps me up at night. I have never taken a pregnancy test at his house. Not once. So what did he see? Was he hallucinating? Or was he making it up just to have an excuse to control me? I'm supposed to go over there today to talk. I still feel a pull toward him, but every time I look at my ring, I don't see love. I see a lie. Am I wrong for wanting to throw it all away? Or did I just discover who he really is before it was too late? In my family, a wedding isn't just a party. It's a milestone, a gathering of every soul that carries our name. My wife and I have always been clear with our children. We will carry the financial burden of your special day, but only if you respect the foundation our family is built on. We had 3 simple rules. Rules that were never meant to control, but to ensure that family remains at the center of everything. The rules were non-negotiable. First, every member of the family must be invited. No exceptions, no exclusions. Second, no destination weddings. If your guests have to board a plane just to see you say, "I do," you're on your own. And third, every immediate family member gets a +1, regardless of their relationship status. My older children followed these guidelines to the letter. Even my middle son, who dreamed of a romantic ceremony in the heart of Italy, chose to stay local because he valued the $100,000 contribution more than a specific backdrop. He understood the trade-off. But now, it's my daughter's turn, and everything is falling apart. My daughter is 31. She's brilliant, independent, and she's found a partner in Cindy, a woman she truly loves. They've been knee-deep in planning, picking out venues, and drafting guest lists. But yesterday, the atmosphere in my living room turned cold. They sat across from me, their faces set in a way that told me a storm was coming. My daughter looked me in the eye and told me the wedding would be child-free. No nieces, no nephews, no cousins under the age of 18. Just adults, dressed in black tie, sipping cocktails in a quiet, elegant hall. I didn't raise my voice. I simply reminded her of the first rule. Family means everyone, and in this family, that includes the children. I told her that if she chose to exclude the youngest members of our bloodline, she was choosing to decline the funding. The conversation that followed was long and draining. They tried to explain their reasoning. They wanted an elegant event, something sophisticated and undisturbed. But the deeper reason came from Cindy. She had experienced severe parentification as a child, forced to raise her own siblings before she was even a teenager. To her, children aren't a joy. They are a reminder of a stolen childhood. She doesn't want them at her wedding because she doesn't want to feel that weight on her day. I listened. I truly did. I sympathize with Cindy's past, and I respect her right to feel how she feels. But my rules aren't about Cindy's past. They're about our family's present. I told them I would think about it, but after a night of reflection, my answer remained the same. The backlash was immediate. My daughter is beyond furious. She calls it unfair. She points to her siblings and says I'm treating her differently, even though I pointed out that her siblings made sacrifices to meet those same requirements. She thinks I'm being a traditionalist dinosaur. I think I'm being consistent. I've made it clear that they are more than welcome to have the child-free wedding of their dreams. I won't stop them. I'll even be there to celebrate with them, but I won't be writing the check. Now, the entire family is divided. Some say it's my money and my right to set the terms. Others say I'm being cruel by putting a price tag on a rule that makes my daughter's partner uncomfortable. Is it wrong to stand by the rules I've kept for everyone else? Or am I the jerk for not making an exception for a situation that feels so personal to them? What would you do if you were in my shoes? I sat across from my brother in a small, dimly lit cafe. Outside, the world was rushing by in a blur of gray coats and cold wind. But inside, the air was thick with the aroma of roasted beans and the soft clinking of ceramic cups. My brother is what most people would call a catch. He's 6'1", half Korean, half Caucasian, with that kind of effortless look that makes people turn their heads without even realizing they're doing it. We were just hanging out, talking about nothing in particular, when she walked over. She was young, radiant, and she had that nervous energy of someone who was putting herself out there. It started small. Questions about his drink, if he'd tried it before, if it was any good. She stayed a little too long, hovering near our table while we waited for our order. Then, the boldest move of all, she came back with a plate of pastries. I thought these would go nice with that drink you ordered, she said, her voice trembling just enough to show she was taking a real risk. I sat there, watching this play out like a scene from a movie, waiting for the part where my brother would ask for her number. I was practically screaming it in my head, but instead, he just smiled, that polite, distant smile of his, thanked her, and told her she was sweet. That was it. No number, no follow-up, nothing. As soon as she walked away, I looked at him, completely baffled. How in the world did you just blow that? I asked. She was literally handing you an opportunity on a silver platter. He took a slow sip of his coffee, looked out the window, and said something that chilled me to the bone. Any girl being that nice is looking for something. I realized in that moment that I didn't understand my brother at all. I had always assumed that for a man like him, flirting was a positive thing, a win. But to him, it was a red flag. He saw interest as a transaction. He saw a woman's kindness not as a sign of attraction, but as a trap. Is this really where we are now? Is this how men think? I couldn't stop thinking about my younger sister, Kelsey. She's everything a person should want to be. She's a pharmacist, a yoga instructor, she's smart, she's fit, and she's beautiful. Because I've seen so many men online complaining about how they no longer feel comfortable approaching women in public. I told her to take the lead. I told her to go on the offensive, and she did. She put her heart on the line. She approached men. She asked them out. She did exactly what society says women should do more of. But it's destroying her. She's had one successful date out of a handful of tries. Every rejection makes her feel smaller. She called herself worthless the other night, crying on the phone because she feels like she's not enough. She compares herself to everyone else and only sees her own flaws. And now, after hearing my brother speak, I feel like I've led her into a battlefield without a shield. If men like my brother, men who are objectively attractive and successful, are so wary of a woman's approach, then that they assume there's a hidden motive. Then what hope does Kelsey have? Are we living in a dating scene that is so broken that genuine interest is mistaken for a scam? Does she need to just take it on the chin and keep going? Or is the game rigged from the start? I look at my husband, whom I pursued years ago until he finally realized we belonged together, and I feel like I escaped on the last chopper out of a war zone. I got my happy ending, but I'm watching my siblings drown in a sea of suspicion and insecurity. To the men out there, when a woman approaches you, do you really see a predator instead of a person? And to the women, how do you keep your head up when the door keeps slamming in your face? Maybe it's time we stop playing games and start figuring out why we've become so afraid of each other. Driving is a responsibility I take seriously. When you have your entire world sitting in the seats behind you, your wife, your children, your future, every turn of the wheel matters. I've lived in cold climates my whole life. I know how to handle black ice, blinding snow, and the chaotic rhythm of metro traffic. I've never had an accident. I've never even had a ticket. But over the holidays, I realized that the greatest danger to my family wasn't the road. It was the person sitting right next to me. My wife, whom I love more than anything, is a nervous passenger. That's an understatement. When we hit traffic, she transforms into a different person. Her knuckles go white as she grips the door handle. Her breath hitches at every brake light. And the worst part, the gasping. That sudden, sharp intake of air that makes your heart skip a beat because you think a semi-truck is about to plow into you from the side. We were heading to her parents' place for New Year's. A 4-hour drive through 2 major cities. The weather was brutal. Gray, heavy clouds, and a freezing drizzle that made the highway look like a sheet of wet glass. Because she gets carsick, she always sits shotgun. She says the front seat is the only thing that keeps the nausea at bay. But as soon as we hit the first metro area, the nightmare began. A car half a mile ahead tapped their brakes. Just a routine slowdown. But next to me, my wife let out a scream like we were falling off a cliff. She slammed her hand onto the dashboard, shouting for me to watch out. I had plenty of space. I was in total control, but her reaction sent a jolt of adrenaline through my system that I didn't need. I tried to be patient. I told her, as calmly as I could, "Honey, your reactions are making it harder for me to focus. You're creating a panic that doesn't exist." But she wouldn't listen. She deflected, telling me I was driving too fast or that I wasn't paying enough attention. By the time we arrived at her parents' house, my neck was stiff from tension and my head was throbbing. The holiday was supposed to be a reset, but all I could think about was the 4-hour drive back home. When it was time to leave, I stood by the car in the freezing air and made a choice. I told her she was sitting in the back. Our 14-year-old son would take the front seat. The look on her face was one of pure betrayal. She started listing all the reasons why she couldn't. The car sickness, the nausea, the humiliation of being treated like a child. I gave her 2 options: sit in the back, or she could drive us all home herself. She refused to drive. Her anxiety wouldn't let her. So she got in the back. She sat next to our 11-year-old daughter, silent and brooding. I suggested she take something to help her sleep, to help with the sickness, but she just stared out the window. The ride home was the most peaceful drive I've had in years. Without the gasps, without the hands slamming on the dash, I could actually do my job. I could navigate the traffic with a clear head. My son was a perfect co-pilot, quiet and calm. But when we pulled into our driveway, the silence in the car wasn't peaceful anymore. It was heavy. My wife walked straight into the house, barely looking at me. Later, she told me she felt ill the entire drive, but didn't say a word because she didn't want to make a big deal out of it. She said I humiliated her in front of our children. She said I treated her like a second-class citizen in her own family. She's still upset. She thinks I should have prioritized her physical comfort over my own need for silence. But I look at it differently. I prioritized the safety of everyone in that car over her inability to control her nerves. So I have to ask, was I the jerk for putting her in the back for the sake of a safe drive? Or is she right? Is a husband supposed to just deal with it, even if it puts the whole family at risk? What would you have done on that icy highway?